or
Very well.
I'm asking because I always forget it also sometimes. Okay, so the agenda using multiple MT engine at the same time to improve translation quality and not one engine. We will also show that we can build into the system several public glossaries. We can access to a tool that's called Cloud Search, which Wordscope will check on some public website, the translation made by others, so we can get some context. And then we'll come into what is important. We'll see how we can customize AI with private glossaries. Then we can go one step further and customize AI with client preferences like typographic preferences on all kind of little things like that. Then I will show you how you can use ChatGPT for assistance. And finally, we will talk about data confidentiality, which is something very important. So my first point, using multiple MT engine to improve translation quality. So for that, let me also, so as I said, Wordscope is a browser-based application, so you just have to open this website, pro.wordscope.com, on any browser. It can be Google Chrome, be on a Mac, Opera, Firefox, whatever you like. You go on this site. If you are not yet signed up, you can just sign up here. The system will only ask you to provide your email address, nothing else. So here I'm login and I reach the page to create my first project. So to start, I will do it from French into English. Sorry, I cannot do it Portuguese or into or from Portuguese because I don't speak Portuguese, but I hope my explanation will be here. So I can add files here. So go here, load this file. You can load any kind of file, docx, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, HTML, whatever you want. And the system will, of course, retain the layout of your document, one or more file. When I'm ready, we'll click the Analyze button, then it will be a standard analysis where the system will count the number of words in your project, make an estimation of the time needed to complete the project, can split the project if it's a very big project. I can split it between different translators, but we're not going to do that today. Then something very important, when the project is ready, the system generates a secret URL, exactly like the link you have received to join this conversation today. That secret URL allows you to outsource the project to a colleague if you don't have time to do it. So exactly like the Zoom link. And that link contains the password to access the project, so you should only share it with the people that need to work on the project. Here, we're going to start our project quickly. And you see it's ready in just 2 minutes. Let me move some here. So very quickly, what do we see on this screen? On the left here, we have the text to translate. This is the part where we will be working. Part of it is already translated because we have machine translation connected to the system. And the most important part here is the translation suggestion that we are getting from machine translation. So what do we see if it is slightly bigger? You see we get a suggestion from this machine translation engine, another one from DeepL, another one from this one, another one from Google Translate. And what you see here, the green and red system is like a track change where we compare each suggestion with the current version. So if there is something in that I'm typing, you see it appear in red here, mean this x-axis is not in the suggestion, but is in my current translation. So that's one thing. You don't need to read them all. What is important here is that if I look at this, you see this first sentence is saying is due to a deficiency of insulin. And here, and the second one with the track change, can immediately see that it is due to a lack of insulin. And here, the first one, it says regulate blood sugar. This one says regulate blood sugar levels. So what Wordscope is showing you is different translation, maybe very little variation, and then you can decide which one is the best one. So for example, if I prefer the Deep L Pro translation, I can just double click on it, and then it is copied in my zone here, and then I can still edit it. Or maybe I'd say, okay, finally think about it, I don't want this, and I can just adapt and then save, go to the next segment. Here again, you can see potentially very serious if not control, if left uncontrolled, left unchecked. So you see, once you get used to this, you will quickly spot what might be a better way to say something. And then it becomes really interesting because another one of translators say that this system is very interesting because it keeps your attention level high also. Because if you have only one MT, I can just do that. If I go in settings, for example, and unclick and say, okay, I will use only one MT, then you may end up, doing save, because you have to read and maybe it's a bit boring. So if I go back at the beginning here and activate all the machine translation, so I can activate this one, this one, this one, this one. And then you see when you progress in your document, you can quickly see what could be a better way. You see here again, does not yet allow patient to achieve, does not yet enable patient. It's up to you to decide. What we are just showing you is some little differences. Another important thing that you can put here also, you have in settings translation memories, and to prepare this presentation, I've this before, so I can connect to my system, of course, a translation memory, plus all the MT. So progress with this, the connect, progress in this document, as you can see, when something is found in the translation memory, of course, it will be displayed first because we would think that you prefer the thing that is in your translation memory. So that's what we see here. This is a private translation memory entry, so you can decide to select it, or you can still decide to use another translation if you don't like this in the TM. And then you continue like that in your document. You can progress. Let's do one more. You see, do we see continue decrypting again? Is it better to say continue decrypting, or is it better to say continue to decipher the mechanism? Again, once you decide that, what Wordscope does, it's just suggesting something. So these are the advantages of using multiple MT at the same time. The second thing I want to show you, as you know, is public glossaries are still important. Maybe you want to look previous translation from other people that are available on the net. This is something that you can do in Wordscope also. So go back to my presentation. You will see that some of the terms are highlighted in yellow here. And here on the right, we have a glossary tab. If we click on this one, we will see that we have plenty terms that have been found in different glossary. Termium is one from Canada, for example. This one also. So is European classification of skill. Now MET is a medical dictionary. And Wordscope try to find the term in a lot of dictionaries that you can check here. Again, if I go in the settings, in terminology tab, these are all the dictionaries that are available. For example, IATE is the terminology for Europe. NORMET is an important medical dictionary. CAT is terminology from Switzerland, I think. And so you see, you have plenty, and you can decide to select them all, or maybe you can say, okay, sometimes selecting them all is not the best choice. You want to be accurate, so I can say, okay, I want to use IATE and this one because it's a French to English project. And if I continue a bit, let's see, you see now all the results will come from those two dictionaries because they are. You could also, of course, go online to the website. So if we take the term, because you can go as usually go to the IATE website and type glucose yourself, and you will find the translation. But what we want to avoid is that you have to spend your time going on this website, then maybe on another website. What you can do in Wordscope is either use the automatic search, or you can go here on another tab, TM search, where you will be able to search all translation memory if you want, all private glossary, we'll talk about private glossary in a minute, all public glossary, and maybe some others. If you translate into Spanish, for example, we have some partnership with Cosnotas, which is a reference dictionary for medical translator, which are also integrated. For example, here, if I type glucose, search this term, and you see it's found in my translation memory that I've just created. It's also looking in Termium, in IATE, so you don't have to go on their website to search for that information, and you can stay in the same interface. That's really what we try to do in Wordscope, is bring as much assistance as we can, and then you can decide. Another interesting for that is maybe you are not sure how to translate this glucose dans le sang, let's say taux de glucose, which is blood sugar level. When you select something in the source or target segment, there is this cloud button here, and if you click on it, Wordscope will send that selection to different website, online website. So, example, if we click on this, I make it bigger for you, you see, this term, taux de glucose, has been found on this website, which has built a list of public translations. So those are not private translation memory. This is a public website. It's coming from this website. So you see taux de glucose, and then you can see, okay, it was translated blood glucose levels here, sugar levels here, again, difference. The blood glucose again, linguis, also an important one. You see taux de glucose here, glucose only, glucose level, blood glucose level. And like that, you can, again, make your decision searching on Google Images also automatically. Of course, notice if it is an English into Spanish object. So that's another source of important information if you are looking for something. Again, you can also select the term in the translation. There is also that cloud button, and the search will be exactly the same. So here, maybe on other dictionaries, on Wikipedia, you see also sometimes do it. So you see hyperglycemia, control la glycémie, and then you can make your own choice and decide what is the best thing. So that extra information you can have access. We have also, if you select, we have synonyms and all kind of information that you can access directly from here. So that was about using public specialized glossary, cloud search as an additional source of information. But now let's come to the important part. As I said at the beginning, using AI can be sometimes very annoying because AI can do the same error several times, and then you will spend your time correcting over and over the same thing, which will be really pain. So to show you how we can use AI to our advantage, let me say if I have an example. Oh, yes. So you see in this text, like that, you can see this text contain this acronym MPAC, which is in English Office Blood Pressure Measurement. But as you can see, that term will appear at many places in my document. And an acronym is a good example of where MT is really bad, because acronyms can be plenty of different things. I show you this example with acronym, but it will work with any terminology that you want the MT to respect. So of course, because the MT will never translate the acronym, you don't want to correct it at every segment where this acronym will appear. So how we can fix that is we can say, okay, we're going to translate that office blood pressure measurement, and we'll create a glossary. So one translation memory, and now I will create a glossary. I call it glossary A, for example, to another. And then close, and we go to the glossary tab, and I will create my glossary entry and say impact should be translated of this blood. Oh, I forgot one thing. Important, in the machine translation tab, you can change the order of the MT engine by simply doing a drag and drop. Why it's important? Because maybe you will notice that Google Translate for this project is doing better, so you may want to have it in the first position. If we want to use glossary, we need to put deep L in the first position because currently Wordscope can ask DeepL and ChatGPT to adapt automatically to the glossary entries, but not yet the other entries. So it's important to put DeepL in the first one. So I create my glossary entry. Into the new glossary, and I save it. Hey, quickly remember we had some yellow underlined text. It means it's a public glossary entry. Now, as you can see, we have green underlined text. That means it's a private glossary entry. If for some reason we make an error and we don't respect that entry in the target segment, then the thing will turn red. But here, I fix it, and so it's green because it's telling me that it is correct. But now, remember, everywhere where that term impact was used, it was not translated because none of the engine was translating. So let's see now if we progress a bit and we open another segment with impact. What do we see is that automatically now DeepL is using my new terminology entry and is adapting to it. As I said, not yet the other one, but DeepL is doing that. You see, it's already at the good translation. If I continue, when I reach this segment, you see it is already adapting also because DeepL is adapting automatically. So that's a very important point. When you create a glossary client A, for example, where this is translate OBPM, and let's say that tomorrow you work for another client where the same acronym appear and maybe that client wanted translated something else, use another glossary and DeepL will automatically adapt to that other glossary. So the same sentence will be translated differently depending on the glossary that you are using. So this is a very powerful feature because once you have set your glossary, you see, I don't have to correct that term over and over again, and it will work for any terminology entry or any term that you want DeepL or ChatGPT to respect. So that's something very important. Let's move one step further in customizing AI suggestion. So for that, we can go, for example, at this example. We'll turn the track change, you can turn them on and off with this button like that. But let's look, let's take this sentence, for example. But do we see that the dollar sign, for example, is in front of the number? And if for some reason you're translating a financial report and your client wants the dollar sign to be after the number, again, you will have to correct that for every single month that appear in your document. It's something, again, that you don't want to do. So what we can do to avoid that, we have a customization module that you can access here, yeah, customization. And that customization module will apply some rules to the MT suggestion. So it is not a global replace in your document, it's something, rules that will be applied after we receive the translation from DeepL, from Google, etc. So we can reformat number, we can reformat currency. Let's try that, for example. So here we can say, okay, we want this to be applied to all MT suggestion. We ask the system to detect any amount with a currency sign that can be dollar, euro, or pound. And we tell that no, we want the symbol to be after the number. It can be after, before. We want a non-breaking space, yes or no. And so that's the parameter that we want. So we say we want to apply it to MT. So now if I close this, and I remember the dollar sign was before the number for all the suggestion, here, yeah, it did it right. So you see now it's after the number, and the red point represents the non-breaking space, because sometimes it will jump at the line, but in your final document, it will be a proper non-breaking space. So you see now everything, for every number with a dollar sign, it's after the number. So you can apply all these kind of rules so you don't have to repeat. Another example of this, look here, for example, we have those double quotes. And here, if I make it bigger for you, this one is using those curly quotes. And this one also curly quotes, and this one also, but so it's not standardized. And let's say that your customer want French code for some reason, anything. Again, you don't want to spend your time doing that, so you can just go in the customization module, and we're going to convert delimiter. So we say again, we want to apply this to machine translation suggestion. And here can tell the system which are the delimiter that I want to replace. So here can be different. So I say anything between bracket, anything between simple quotes, double quotes, and now I will add curly quotes to my list. I want anything like that be replaced by French quote, quotation mark, sorry. Non-breaking space, yes, no. Okay, so I want this to be applied to empty suggestion. So let's see. Now, as you can see, all the empty suggestions are using the French code. So you see, you can really customize all kind of things like that quickly because I don't have time to show everything. You can reformat number, reformat time, and then there is another function called regex replace, which unfortunately I don't have time to explain. If you are interested, regex is a kind of pattern formula. It's a formula not specific to Wordscope, so you can search on the internet information about regex because that will allow you to find any kind of thing. So, for example, if you have a product name which can be identified by a pattern like three-letter space and a number, you can apply a formula to that. So it's really very powerful. It requires a bit of practice or distance of ChatGPT. If you are interested, I'm going to do a webinar about customization and regex with some real example on June 4, I think. Please visit our page on LinkedIn for more information. So that's about customization, where you can really adapt. Last thing I want to show you about customization is that you can save and load customization. So again, you can have customization different from client A and one from client B. For example, when we translate into French, the typographic rules are not the same if you translate for France or for Canada. Maybe in Belgium, we don't need a space before the quotation mark at the end of the sentence, but in Canada, they do, I think. These all kind of things that you can customize with this customization module. Again, it's important because once it's customized, then you can really concentrate on the quality of the translation. All right, let's go to another very powerful tool using ChatGPT for us. My earphone. So let me go back at the beginning of this document. Let's take a simple example to start. If for some reason you want to ask for the definition or for more info about this word, what you can do, of course, you can go on the net or you can go on again, open a specialized tab and type what is the definition of diabetes. Then you will get the information right there in ChatGPT. You can read it, do some copy paste, but really, that's really the best way to lose time. What we can do in Wordscope, again, remain in Wordscope, and here you see there is a ChatGPT button that you can call at any time. When we call it, it opens a window where you have those buttons here, which are predefined functions that we have built specially for translators. And so if we can either select one word or select nothing, and then the function will decide to do. But if we want to take this example, I select diabetes, and I can click on definition. And what will happen is that Wordscope will talk to ChatGPT and get back the information right here immediately. So that's a simple example. Let me show you a few examples where it becomes really. So if I continue here, let's say, for example, that I don't like this part of translate. And as you know, sometimes changing a word in the middle of a sentence or finding another way to say something can be very time consuming, difficult, or find a synonym or whatever. Here, what you can do, you can just select something in the sentence and call ChatGPT and call the use the alternative button. The alternative button will ask ChatGPT to keep my translation. I will activate the track change. To keep my translation as much as possible and replace only what I selected. So in this case, instead of this is called hyperglycemia, this condition is referred to as hyperglycemia, or this condition is known, oh, right? Let's say that I prefer this translation. I can use the copy button, and then the translation is appearing here. So this is something really interesting. If we take another example, let's say that we have food intestine and want to change that. So I select that and I will use the alternative button. Again, it tell ChatGPT, keep my sentence, just try to change that. So it's suggesting me move through the intestine or travel. If you still don't like, you can give it another chance, click alternative again. Maybe there are not 50 way to say that. So you see, it's really interesting to find another way or to change some part of your own translation without changing. Another important thing is the button explain. So let's say that you don't know what is blood sugar. Again, you can select it in the target or in the source text, doesn't matter, and click explain. That is much more powerful than definition because explain will talk to ChatGPT and will ask to explain that term in the current context. So you see, you don't have to copy paste things, go into ChatGPT, type a long prompt. Wordscope does that for you. It may send the sentence before, the sentence after to give some context. And when you hit explain, it will explain just that term in the current context. We took another example. Don't know what Langerhans are. Remember, you can use the cloud button, as we did before, to find how it is translated, or I can ask GPT for an explanation. You see, the islets of Langer are clusters of cells located in the pancreas, so it's related to a habit. They contain the type of cells, etc. So you get information in the current context without having to cut and paste a lot. I think that the time is running, so I want to show you one more thing about GPT. Let's go back to our example. Remember that example where we created that glossary entry? And what I will do, I will make an error or typo here, so the thing does not respect, and I will make another typo, so it should have been 130 and 3 different days. Let's say that this is a completely wrong translation. Should be days, should be 130. These things can happen in a badly updated translation memory, going too fast, things like that. So in this text, if you put that in the best spell checker, it will not find any error because the months, days, it doesn't matter. But here we have a proofread button where Wordscope will ask ChatGPT to check one, is it a faithful translation? Two, is it respecting the glossary? And there any spelling and grammar error? And explain me and correct. So as you can see, it's telling me that acronym was replaced with OBPM. So ChatGPT noted that it's an error in my translation and it fixed it. It also discovered the numeric value was incorrectly translated to 140. Should remain 130 as per the source sentence. And the last big mistake I did, the source un jour différent was incorrectly translated different months. It should be different days. So you see, it's very powerful because it's able to correct all kinds of different errors. We make a quick try here. Do we have another example. Again, if we go here, we change this. Even do a spelling mistake. Observation. Let's see if it's able to find the errors. It's correcting. It should be OBPM, diabetic patient, not cancer. And again, it's giving me the explanation. So because everything is integrated, we can have that power to assist. There are other function very quickly. If you select nothing, if you select that, you select one term and you do translate, it will translate that term. If you select nothing, you click translate, it will translate the full sentence. It's respecting, again, OBPM as requested. That thing, by default, ChatGPT always answer in the target language of your document. In your case, if your target language is Portuguese, it will automatically answer in Portuguese. If you want to change that, during a project, you can do it, adjust some parameter. So here, for example, if I ask to explain blood pressure, selected Portuguese, it will reply me in Portuguese. So you have all to do that when you want. Okay, that was for ChatGPT Assistant. You see a really powerful tool. Very quickly, a few words. Yes? Any question?
Okay. We have a couple questions here in the chats.
Okay,
Phillipe.
okay, but I thought you wanted to interrupt me. Or I just want to say a few words about data confidentiality, if it's okay.
So far, so good.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I know time is running, so I'll be fast. Data confidentiality, it's very important to know that if you are using free version of DeepL, Google Translate or things like that, then you are not guaranteed that your text will not be used to train their system. In Wordscope, we do not use free version. So only the paid version, and we cover the cost for that, guarantee data confidentiality. So when you translate within Wordscope, all the AI system is coming from the pro version of the thing. If you do some very, very specific, really sensitive document, we have an extra level that you can do with the customization again. You can ask Wordscope to anonymize some part of your text. So it means, for example, company name or patient name or whatever. You can ask Wordscope to hide it before sending it to the tools. So that's really the maximum level of confidentiality. But it is important as some customer may to do that. So, yes, so I have no more time for that. Again, I will do a webinar just focusing on that because on a general webinar, I think it will be on June 24. If you are interested, we'll only talk about data confidentiality, the different level. Again, please visit Wordscope page on LinkedIn for more information. So that's it, Jorge. Sorry for the interpreter if I was speaking fast, but I see time's running. Let's see if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Phillipe, for your presentation. I believe this has been a very productive workshop for everyone. I have been using Wordscope with my students for some time now, and it is truly a tool that it's not only comprehensive, but it's also very easy to use, especially if we think that the other tool I teach is Trados. So,
Absolutely.
well, it's a big difference. And before we move onto the questions, I would like to mention that Abrates members will receive a code to obtain a substantial 40% discount in the silver and gold versions of Wordscope. You will receive a code. That information you will receive by email. Okay. Now let's open the floor for questions.
Okay, George. George, we have 3 questions here in the chat. Four actually. No, 3. So, do you want to read them? So, what do we do? Should call them out loud? What's better?
Oh yeah, please read them because I think there is.
All right.
We should.
All right. So, Erico Carvalho asks, what is the difference between the alternatives and the rephrase functions, please?
Good question. So let me show you. It's always best. I'm still sharing my screen, I think. Yeah. So if go back to ChatGPT, and as I said, either you can select something in source or in target. So for example, I select this and I click translate, it will translate that word. If I select nothing, it will translate the full sentence. Now about rephrase will completely change the sentence, maybe. So you see, these are big differences. Just ask another translation or try to rephrase this sentence, reword it differently. If alternative is the contrary, it's only selecting one or more words, and it is asking, please try to keep my translation and change just that word or that one or more word. So alternative, I think it's very powerful. You can select one or more, and rephrase will just change everything.
Okay, that makes it clear. Yeah, nice. We have another question here from Lilian Jimenez. Is it possible to use the different functionalities of ChatGPT, like definition, explaining, etc., on the whole document at once rather than in a single segment?
No, for several reasons. One of the reasons is that it will be too slow to do it. And the second reason is that we want you, again, it's an assistant, so we want you to check what it says, decide if it's good or not, because that's why we ask ChatGPT to provide 2 translation or 2 suggestion. And also, again, for confidentiality reason, if your document is confidential, we strongly are advised not to paste the full document into AI or ChatGPT or whatever, Claude or other tool, because you never know. Here, what we do with Wordscope, we only send minimal information. And, when it reaches ChatGPT, it's all mixed up with other requests. So it keeps your document confidential, and we think it's important. So it's not possible to apply on a global level.
Okay. So, and Fernando Campos Leza asks, to use the different translation engines, DeepL, Google Translate, etc., dictionaries such as Cosnautas and ChatGPT within Wordscope, do you need to have an account for those services, or are they
Yep.
included in the Wordscope as subscription?
Okay, so for all the tools that are included, so ChatGPT and all the MT tools like DeepL, Google Translate, Amazon Translate, we are using Wordscope subscription. So you don't need to provide your API key. It's built in Wordscope from day one. You don't need to pay anything additional for that. Service like Cosnotas is an additional service. So for that, you need an account with Cosnotas. And very quickly, I think it's important if we can take a minute to show it, because again, Cosnotas, as I said, is a medical dictionary for Spanish. So okay. But you see, there are some more dictionaries that appear there. And the thing is that normally you have to go on Cosnotas website and do a search. So you can go on Cosnotas and you can do a search, login, etc. Again, advantage of a partnership we have done with them is that when a segment open, we underline in blue some term, and if you click, you will have a definition that is coming from the Cosnotas website. For that, Cost Notas, you need a subscription to Cost Notas, and you need to use the same email address on both platforms. That's how we ask authorization to Cost Notas.
All right. Still about the license, I think I have a question of my own here. So when you have a subscription of the service Wordscope, and then is it a flat rate always, or are there like added fees in case of large
No,
volumes of text or collaborative projects?
it's a flat rate only. Yes.
Wonderful.
You can go here. You have to go from your place because maybe different currency, or if you go MyCon subscription, then you will have the price here. And when you decide to subscribe to one of them, you can still apply the discount. You will have all the explanation here, but we have three plans like that, which are fixed amount.
All right. So it's always a flat rate, regardless of the volume of text. All right.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, there's one more here. Carol Santiago. Maybe Philip has already answered at the beginning of the lecture, but I would like to know if Wordscope uses or creates or updates my own translation memories, if it can use them as an alternative, as a research alternative, or if it can use this TM to apply my own style, writing style on the text, or if it's only for its own LLMs and its own transition memories. It can also bring TMs from other CAT tools to Wordscope.
Yes. So as I've shown at the beginning, that's. Let me go back to our project. Remember when we read, you see, we have results from private translation memory, private, not used by anybody else than you. Empty suggestion cannot be customized, except you cannot give instruction. Okay, we can customize them like I've shown with private glossary and with customization formula. The only thing that you can customize is ChatGPT. So if you open segment and you open ChatGPT, here you can say use, it will make no sense here, but technical writing style, you can give some special instruction. And then when you will use the function, whatever they are, it will follow that instruction. And so that we can customize. Something important that I have to announce that soon we will have the possibility to ChatGPT here also as part of the suggestion. So you will be able to give instruction that will be used and to compare LLM and MT. So that will be an extra feature that we'll soon provide.
All right, and then if we have a TMX file or an XLib file from another CAT, so we can import it into our account. Is it possible?
I forgot that part of the question. So again, you go to settings. Let me open it again. Settings. Remember, we have one TM and one glossary. So I can click here, the menu, so I can import a translation memory. Then it will ask me the TMX file from another CAT tool, and you can import it. For glossary, the same. You can import from Excel, export. So yes, you can import from other tools without any problem. Import and export.
Wonderful. Ok. Pessoal, se alguém tem mais alguma pergunta, tá? Podem colocar aqui. Tá? Philip, I'm asking people to. We have another one. So Erico asks, so yes, we can import it, but does Wordscope export the TM file again after finishing with the new document included?
Export, yeah, of course. You can export. You have two possibilities to export. The first one is, as I've just shown, you can export the full translation memory. So this project and possibly other project. If you want to export the memory of the project only, then you can go here. This is to download the translated document, and you can you see here, download project translation memory, which is automatically created, and that will only download the TMX with the segment of this project. Then you do whatever you want.
Okay, then Monica Santana asks here, so will my private TM be updated automatically as I save each segment?
Absolutely, and that's why it's also important to work in the cloud like Wordscope, because let's say that tomorrow you have a very big project and that you split it between three person, three translator, two colleagues and myself. So when you translate a segment, you save it, it goes into the memory. If 1 minute later I have a fuzzy match of the same segment, I will get the immediately the input from the TM. So you see, as you know, when working with TM, sometime after the client has done the proofreading, you have to do some QA on your TM or update your TM. It takes a lot of time. Here, it doesn't do that. If you want, for example, to ask your client to proofread your project, you can switch to a view mode, which will create another URL here. You can send that to your client. It will proofread, and all the change will be recorded in your translation memory. Then if you want to see what change that person has done, you can use a filter, and then you can see only what has been changed and that kind of thing. So very important, the TM are updated live, yes.
Okay, this is something I would ask. It started my next question here from my own too. So, like, if you have team projects or collaborative projects, if you can assign different roles to each person in the team, right? So, but I think this answers it, right? Like a proofreader and translators and others.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you split a project, you see, you will see my part, but I will not be able to access your part. So if I take again this project, let me split it. Let's say that I split it in 2 or 3 chunks, for example. You see the system will calculate automatically, then do a check, and then I confirm that I want to work 3 people. And then as you see, it generates 3 different URL. So one for me, one for you, etc. Let's say that I'm working on this part. So open it, read it for a full project. So I'm working on this part, but you see this other part, you see my icon. If I click, it will tell me this part has not been assigned to you. So because maybe another person will be, but I will get input. I can see if you have translated it, and for consistency of the text is important, and being online is very helpful. Then we have some other funny things. For example, you can comment, it's like a sticky note. You can assign a sticky note to somebody of your team. So if I'm sending a message to Jorge, I can say, hello, here it will not work because I have not created a team. Can you check this? And the system will send a message to Jorge. If he's online, it will get a pop-up. If he's not online, he will get an email with a link to this segment so he can assist me if I need. And I can continue like that, you see. I can just comment that on this tab and I can continue and then come back. But these are all kind of interesting collaborative features.
Yeah. And also another follow-up questions to that. So let's suppose I'm doing what you did here with a project with 3 translators. So all of them need to have like a gold subscription or not really.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I have to nuance that. Currently, Wordscope, this version is for freelance. So if you split that, you need all to have a subscription to Wordscope, yes. but in a few days or in a month, we're a bit late, but it will be soon. We will release a team version of Wordscope, which is more targeted for agencies. And in that case, if you are a project manager with a team version of Wordscope and you outsource a project, you can outsource it to anybody, and that person doesn't need to be a paying user of Wordscope because you will lend your subscription to that person. So that will give you a wider choice of translator. I remember when I was working in agency, we knew a very good translator for this project, and we asked, do we have Trados or this tool? He said, oh no, then we had to choose another translator because he didn't want to install or to buy the tool. In this case, this problem will be suppressed. You can choose whatever translator you think is the best, and then it will be able to work 2 minutes later without installing anything. As Jorge says, it's simple to use. There's no learning curve. We try to do.
Okay. And then I have another question here from Carol Santiago. So when you're working in a collaborative project, can you see the other translators changes to the segments in real time, or do you have to refresh the page, or how does it work?
If you mean if you want to scroll and see what they've done,
Yes.
and then you have to refresh the page.
All right. Ok, pessoas, temos mais alguma pergunta aqui, tá? Se tivermos, podem colocar. Se não, tá? Eu passo a bola para o Jorge aqui, a soar o nosso
I
apito
see a
final.
nice comment from Lilian. Thank you. This is such a good and straightforward tool. Always nice to read. Oh, any other question?
Roger, I think that's it. So,
Well, thank you so much. Thanks to the interpreter. I hope I didn't give you too much work, and it was clear and interesting. And thanks to Jorge and to Abrates for the organization, to all the team. Pleasure being here with you today.
Thank you very much, Phillipe. I think it was really helpful, an amazing presentation, and I think that it's also interesting to say that it's a CAD tool that you can see that it's truly designed with translators in mind. Now, I was thinking you first launch the version for translator, and then you're launching the version for the agencies. And for us, this is very important because we don't have many developers never ask translator what they want, what they need, and so your CAD tool is really has a different way of a different perspective. I think that it comes from the vision of the translator, and for us it's really important that. So I want to thank you about that too, and well, a great presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There you go. And if you have any question, please feel free to get in touch. So we'd be happy to answer any more questions. Thank you so much. Sorry to have interrupted your lunch, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much, Phillipe.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Jorge, então, creio que é isso, né?
É isso mesmo. Podemos dar por fechado. Então, muito obrigado a todos e a todas, as intérpretes novamente, pela ajuda, e obrigado a todo mundo. E, bom, já a gente vai se encontrar no próximo. Abraços para todos e todas.
Obrigada, até a próxima.
Valeu. Obrigado a todo mundo.